Alright, just wait for people to join. People are going to join. No idea after that, to be honest. See if anybody joins in. While I'm waiting for people to come on, I'll kind of give you a little bit of my thoughts after watching that today, which was as grim as it come, that. Right, doesn't look like anybody's joining early doors. We'll see if people either just want to switch off from this or they want to analyse it. Right, Newcastle United beaten 3-1, having taken the lead at St James's Park. For me, that was as poor. It's as poor as I've seen here at St James's Park. And I actually thought it was. I was asked by somebody, was that a 3-1 game at the end of it? And the answer was no. I didn't think it was a 3-1 game because I thought it was easier 5 or 6, to be honest. The way that Nottingham Forest broke on Newcastle United and as little chances as Newcastle United created in that game, I thought was as genuinely, given the level of opposition in the last week, it's definitely Howe's worst week as Newcastle United manager, in my opinion. They surrendered a place in the Carabao Cup to a pitiful Chelsea side, actually. So if anybody out there who watched the Christmas Eve game against Wolverhampton Wanderers will see how pitiful that Chelsea team is. And Newcastle United surrendered what felt like 95% possession in that game and gifted the opposition never created a chance. Then went to Luton, barely created a chance, haven't had all the ball, and then today to surrender a lead. Even at 1-0 when Newcastle United were ahead, it didn't feel like they were ahead. Forest created more chances, looked a threat on the break, and let's forget about analysing the game. Let's look at Howe's decisions today. I, for one, have been somebody that's praised Eddie Howe to the hilt. When things have gone well, I say it as I see. Anybody who knows me from YouTube will know that and from my journalistic work with the Shield Gazette and Newcastle World and beyond, will know that I say it as I see. And I think if you praise somebody to the hilt when things are going well, you've also got to criticise them when things are going badly. And I think Eddie Howe got a lot wrong today. I think the setup, looking at the way that Forest played on the break, pace down the wings, he never got his selection right. Never got his selection right. I think Dan Burn had a poor game, but was hung out to dry, in my opinion, by the formation and the system that they played. Bruno was almost like a number 10, not a number 6. Today, he played so high up the park, which was all right when we had the ball, but then when we gifted it away, it was simple, straight balls that caught Newcastle United. It wasn't difficult for Nottingham Forest to score goals, and like I say, they got 3 today, but they'll actually probably feel like they could have got a couple more. Very disappointed in the way that I think Eddie Howe and his lack of ability to make in-game decisions and change things. He changed personnel. It's not he didn't change personnel, but didn't change the approach in any way, shape or form when it was so obvious for the untrained eye, as many would say, and I'm sure people in the game would probably say that. Who the hell is he to criticise, and who the hell is he to talk tactics? But you see it as you see it, and I thought he got it a lot wrong today. To not have anybody covering in that midfield, why couldn't he, if he wanted Bruno to be further forward and trying to make things happen, drop Longstaff in there and tell him to cover for his fullbacks? Didn't do any of that. Just floated along and expected, crossed his fingers and hoped that things would get better, and it didn't. Nowhere near. And I think a lot of fans out there, although I've seen the comments that I've maybe put on Twitter, that some people still. I think one thing I described, as I said, the fatigue argument is getting very, very tired for fans. And I think everybody sees the justification, how they've been tired in the past. But there's no excuses when you play 3 games against 3 teams who are so out of form, it's ridiculous. Nottingham Forest couldn't buy a win away from home. And they've come here and won on a canter. Luton, they've done all right at home, but most of the teams who in Newcastle's half of the table have gone there and got something. Never looked like they could have played for another hour at Luton and wouldn't have got a result. And today, that was just so far off where this Newcastle United team has been for so long. The things this season is genuinely unravelling. 6 losses in 7 is absolutely horrendous form. Let's say it as we say. Easily the worst form under Eddie Howe. I'm going to jump in the comments to see what you guys are saying. Please do get involved in the conversation. That's what we're here for. That's what I'm certainly on here for anyway. Let's have a look in the live chat, see what you guys are saying. Geordie Toon for life, thanks for your comment, mate. Result terrible. We can't keep playing three midfielders so high, along with the full-backs pushing high. It's absolute madness. It's a counter-attacking team. That's what I'm getting at here. Great point, Geordie Toon for life. I didn't understand the mentality today that Newcastle United consistently knew they were gifting chances in that first half, but Eddie Howe continued to play the same way, crossing his fingers and hoping things would get better, and it was never looking like it was going to get better. There was only one team in the ascendancy, even in that first half at 1-0 down, and it was Forest. It was Alanga down one side and Hudson-Odoi on the other side, caused all kinds of problems, and he did nothing to change it. Thanks for your comment, mate. Derek, they looked void of any ideas today, mate, the whole of them. Yeah, I think I said he had 6 minutes on at the end, and I think I said that to the other two Geordie journos sitting alongside us, Dominic Skir and Jordan Cronin, I said they could have added 60 on, and I'm not sure Newcastle United would have got back into that one. The moment that the penalty decision didn't go their way, it's almost like they were beaten. I think if they'd got a goal then, you never know, but they were beaten after that. Jack Burton, naive is Eddie Howe's middle name. I'm not saying he's a naive man, he's a very intelligent man and he's done some great things at this football club, but we can't keep falling back on excuses and praising when a team like Nottingham Forest comes here and gets a win at a canter, and Newcastle can't even lay a glove really on Luton Town in a week. That's a very, very bad return. Barry Cope, lost for words. We're a central defensive midfielder, right winger in January is a must. I want to make a point on that one. Cheers for bringing that one up, Barry. I think what we're seeing in these moments now under Eddie Howe, and thanks everybody for joining, we're sort of seeing the numbers go up. Thanks, get involved in the conversation. Anybody who's just joined, I'm happy to answer any questions and happy to give my opinion on your opinions, because I do think it's a time when fans will want to chat and maybe vent a little bit about what they've seen. But thanks for the comment there. Sorry, was it Barry? I think it was. A lot of this falls down to the transfer window. If you'd gone into the transfer window in the summer and asked what do Newcastle United need to strengthen, I think most people, on average, probably would have said they need an upgrade on Almiron and they need a central defensive midfielder, maybe to unlock Bruno like he was trying to do today. They didn't sign either. Instead, they signed 4 players. They didn't. Chris Wood scored a hat-trick today. Newcastle have never replaced him since he left. I mean, that was the best. That was easily the best game Chris Wood's ever had at St James's Park. It was. His finishes were incredible, to be fair. Respectful in his celebrations, and it goes back to the transfer business though for me. So they got rid of a striker last January, and they haven't added another striker. That wasn't why they lost today, but it just shows some of the transfer decisions taken in the last 2 windows just haven't really been the most positive for the squad, in my opinion. They needed an upgrade on those 2 positions, as I mentioned earlier, and didn't get anywhere close to getting them. Instead, they signed 4 players: a left back who he doesn't want to play, let's be brutally honest about it, a central midfielder who can't play, a winger who got injured, who wasn't even a right winger anyway, he's a left winger, and a full back who's come in and been excellent, which has masked over a lot of issues. And I think masking over issues in the transfer business, the form has been masked by Newcastle United's form here. Without the home form, their away form has been utterly dreadful, and it's been papering over the cracks largely that they've been getting results here. And as soon as a result doesn't come here, the pressure piles on, and the pressure does pile on. The month Newcastle United got ahead it's just criminal in terms of fixtures, and it's going to be a real struggle to get results in those games. I'm going to jump back in the comments, see what you guys are saying. Thanks so much for that comment, Barry Cope. Just to summarise for anybody jumping on now, I was literally just discussing Barry Cope's comment there, saying lost for words. We're a centre defensive midfielder and a right winger in January is a must. It was a must in the last window when they didn't go there. Johnson's performance was absolutely shocking. Eddie needs to stop playing his favourites. Longstaff was terrible. Longstaff's been poor actually. He actually doesn't work as well on the left hand side as he does on the right hand side. I suppose obviously Miley's been decent and he tried to make things happen today, but I think Longstaff needs to move back to the right, in my opinion. Derek again, no training, looks like it's doing us harm. Where's all the triangle work where we attack and defend in triangles? Well, they used to do a lot of that. There was very little of that today, but they just struggled for everything in the last few games. It was bad from the lot of them. I hope they learn from this humbling. They're going to have to learn fast. JC, we could have scored a few today. Miggy's shooting when he should pass, passing when he should shoot. Longy was well off it. I actually agree with that, but I'm certainly not going to blame Miggy Almiron. As poor as he was in that first half, and how the first goal came from him, the whole team's got to do a lot more. The whole team's got to do a lot more. And I was critical of Almiron at half time because I think it did cost them just on the stroke of half time, but he wasn't to blame for that second half, which was devoid of ideas and lost its spirit largely at the end of the game as well. Geordie 2 for life, thanks for your comment again, mate. I love Dan Burn, but Livermento has the pace to deal with wingers. Also from corners, we leave one man back and one halfway line. Yeah, so I think that's kind of a modern day thing though, because people don't put forwards, don't put anybody on the halfway line themselves, so it kind of does lend itself, most teams you see setting up like that, so I can't criticise too much. But yes, Dan Burn, I was calling that after half an hour that he was really struggling. There was actually one moment in the first half where he made an amazing tackle, which was, if he got it slightly wrong, would have been a penalty, and that was due to Alanga's pace. He couldn't quite stop the ball and we went in for the first goal. But Derek, thanks for your comments again. Miggy was diabolical today, gives a ball away in their box and they score with 2 passes. The whole team was diabolical. I'm not going to blame Miggy for the defeat, but his decision making was dreadful in that first half, dreadful, and doesn't get any better. Hasn't got any better, but he can't be to blame. He's certainly not the only one to blame for a result like that today, considering especially he was off very quickly. JC, cumulative effects of Eddie's style, number of games with such a thin squad has burnt them out. I agree with that wholly, and that's where the manager needs to find answers. It's another criticism that comes on him, that can they play at this intensity? There's no intensity at the minute. The last 3 weeks there's been zero intensity since Chelsea. I don't really see much of it at all. But I agree with that in the early season form, that they did run out of steam and they just can't get it back. I think that's one thing that I always go back to before I come back into the comments. The veneer has gone slightly from this team, so I think when they've had struggles in the last 12 months to 18 months, I've kind of, personally as a fan and journalist, I've kind of always fell back on it and thought, they'll be alright, they'll put it right, they'll be okay. It doesn't feel like that way now. It's hard to know whether they will get it right because there isn't the excuse of players at the moment. They've got most of their players back and they have options, but they're a million miles off it. And JC again, tendency undoubtedly contributed. Yeah, that's right. Cruel to be kind. I think there's a lot of us feeling a bit like that now. Eddie is lost. He has run out of ideas. The players are not playing for him. I think that's a big jump, but it's not great at the minute. I think that's fair to say. Gary Lee, thanks for your comment, mate. Thanks for everybody's comments. Thanks for everyone watching. Problem that we also open when we lose the ball and struggle to control the game. Exactly, and that comes from the midfield, and that comes from. I'm really disappointed he didn't try and change things today. The Crocodile, we need to sign Miggy right foot. Yeah, like I say, like we can criticise Miggy to the cows come home, but he wasn't to blame for that game today. He was to blame for the first goal. I'll absolutely give him that, but anything that went on from there on in was on the rest of them, and it just wasn't good enough. Back in those comments. Cheers for the comments, guys, keep them coming. Oh, plenty today. I'll go down and scroll through these comments, keep them coming. Old renewed gamer, I suppose Eddie must go now is the chant on socials, I assume that is. I'm not going to jump in that one, but I think, like I said earlier in this video, if you're going to praise somebody when things are going well, you also criticise them when things aren't going well, and I always say it, and I think Eddie got a lot wrong today. I think his lack of plan B is a major concern, where there's a lot of questions, there's more questions than answers at the moment, Newcastle, and he's a manager who's going to have to find those answers because he is falling short at the moment. He's not finding the answers. Nottingham Forest posed a totally different kind of set of questions today about the pace on the break and the width that they had. We had no answers to that today, and Eddie Howe was watching the same game as a lot of us here at St James's Park were watching that game and could see the problems coming, and he didn't change it. He didn't, like I said, it could have easily, I'm no tactician, but it could easily have been a simple case of dropping a midfielder in there. Yeah, fine to go past, don't worry about it. I'll be here for ages, you wouldn't want to wait. Polite guy there, just not want to get me video, but no problems there from me. Where are we? Geordie 2 for life again. Thanks for your comments, mate. You're always in the comments, always keeping the conversation going. We have to become more defensive minded, otherwise these results will still happen. You only need string possible. Oh, sorry, I've lost you. You only need 4 string players, possibly 5 at any one time. Flooding the box is more harm than good. Yeah, it's like gung-ho rubbish really at times, because they just pile forward, and they did it far too often with a reckless abandon today, and it really cost them. Thanks everybody for jumping in. I see the numbers going up. Appreciate it. JC again, thanks for your comment. It was a cursed day. Now cursed about that. Now cursed about it. I'm sorry, it was just poor. They showed stat on the broadcast saying we've lost more Boxing Day games and it's rubbish. I'm all for stats. I love stats, and ask Dominic Skew, one of the Geordie journalists. He loves stats, but that was no Boxing Day curse. That was just a crap performance. Give us a second. I'm just trying to get back up with those comments. Geordie 2 for life. 4. I'm not sure what you're commenting on there, mate. Hugh John. Nice name. Taking the P down the Premier League, you go. Certainly right. There's absolutely no arguments there. The Crocodile, I only watch on TV, but wasn't the crowd a bit quiet. I'd now to shout about today. I think that's only fair, to be honest. Captain Keyford, do you think Eddie might have lost the dressing room? I don't think he has lost the dressing room, Captain Keyford. I don't think that's the case at all, but I do think that this team is struggling, and I do think that the manager needs to find some answers from somewhere, because he's got none at the moment. John Mitchinson, no heart or desire, down tools after the second goal. How will job could be on the line with the owners if you do badly in the next 4 games? Don't know what to say. So I don't think he's under any particular pressure, but it will be interesting to see if things continue to go negatively over the next few weeks. Christ, look at that fixture list. It's a challenge, to say the least. A real challenge. They could have done. Could they've done with like at Forest at home? Is that what they could have done with? Because, like I say, that even the gimmies at the moment, they were given a gimme here against Fulham. Fulham were spent as an attacking force, effectively with the red card. So, yeah, I think it's a real struggle. It's going to be a real struggle. Liverpool away, never get a result there. Difficult to see how they'll do that at the moment. Then Sunderland in the FA Cup, which almost feels like it's gaining prominence by the week, given Newcastle United's results. Man City at home, back here. You imagine the atmosphere will return, but the pressure may well be building by then. And then Aston Villa away, it's not the fixture list you would choose to have a return to form, but you never know. You never know. I've said before, you don't write this team off, but they don't look like they've got answers to this problem period at the moment. Edward F back in the comments. How crucial do I believe the Sunderland game is now? I don't think Liverpool is a game we can win, but the Magpies now must win. Yeah, but I think I haven't really been looking forward to looking ahead, not looking forward, not that term. I haven't really been looking ahead to Sunderland too much, because I haven't really seen I think the Premier League takes prominence, and it still does. That Liverpool game, you'd feel they need to go and get something there, but I'm struggling to see how they will. If they lose to Sunderland, I really would be interested to see exactly what the consensus is in that among the fans, because I think some of the excuse making with the fatigue and stuff is legitimate in recent weeks, but fatigue argument and tired, it becomes very, very tired when you don't really lay a glove on Chelsea and surrender a Carabao Cup place, don't really lay a glove on Luton, who might well go down this season, and against probably one of the worst form teams away from home in the Premier League, get well beaten by Nottingham Forest. I think there's only so much fatigue comes into that game, and I think even a tired team of the quality of Newcastle United should be getting results in those games. So I think it becomes very, very tired as well, pardon the pun. Thanks for your comment, Edward, on the Sunderland game. Appreciate it. Derek again, there's a good handful of players you can see that are struggling on the pitch. Absolutely, Derek. I think there's lots of them struggling on there. I think the manager is also struggling for answers, as I've mentioned earlier in this video, and he needs to find some. Mark Weir, No excuses. Terrible performance. Only Miley Sean. Goalkeeper needs to be the priority, and rightly so. Needs some answers. I don't necessarily think the goalkeeper is to blame for all that much today. But again, I've only seen things live, and I might have to look back on these things. Apologies. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go in the January window. It doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of money there, but if the struggles continue, they're gonna have to dig deep and find some answers. Whoever huge hard on is, whoever you are, you're loving life at the minute. You're loving life. Brucey in. Yeah, we'll have that, I'm sure. Where are we? Jumping back in your comments, guys. Keep them coming. I will answer. I will get through all of them. Steve Bruce available. Yes, he is. Huge hard on. Keep the comments coming. I'm really appreciating your humorous take on things. Geordie Toon for life. Every top team plays with number 6 and we don't. Bruno is not playing as a 6, but more of an 8 or 10. He was a 10 today. He was like playing off the front, which left them wide open, to be honest. But that comes from the manager. If things aren't going right, change it, and he didn't. Craig Foggin need a striker ASAP. Huge Jordan, I think you need to keep it in your pants, mate. You're getting a little bit excited. I think your team plays at 3 o'clock, does it not? Leave it to that one. We'll see how much form you're in then. Derek, I think Eddie will get the team back playing. The last time I saw the team play well was the Palace game. Yeah, you're probably right. I think it's been a real drop in form. December has been an awful month, being brutally honest. I think they played really well for 45 minutes against AC Milan, but again, beyond that, it's been a real struggle. Alan Norris, first step, identify new captain. Trippier themselves and not the future. No, you're right there. They're not the future. But I think they've both been good leaders for Newcastle United. But Newcastle needs its leaders now, and it needs people to stand up and be counted. And today was not the day for that. You the crocodile. Just digging it. What Matt and friend in the comments there. Derek, the next time I will see them play, what will be against them? We'll see. I don't think there's a massive amount of confidence in the fan base for that game, I'll be brutally honest. Keep on coming. I see the numbers going up. Keep jumping in and getting involved in the conversation. I'll answer your questions and get your comments read out. Happy to do so. 2 in 2020, how are the lads? Will this run change the transfer window? Will PIF get the money out? That's a really good question. Thanks for that one. I think it's one thing that probably has to be evaluated moving forward. If this run continues, they're going to have to. It doesn't, being brutally honest, from bits that I hear from people in the know, and it could go either way. Newcastle have always been very cards close to their chest with regards to how much money they have and how much they want to spend and how much is available. But we've got to remember that they were at the absolute limits of FFP in the summer, and not a lot has happened in the last few months to change that immediately. Future going forward it has, but not immediately. So it'll be interesting to see. The word coming from in and around is that I don't think there is a whole lot available to go out there. They'll probably have to be quite clever in what they do. But we have heard it before, and I suppose we can fall back on that and say they have heard it before. But I do think continued struggles means that they're going to have to dig into their back pockets, get involved and look down the back of the sofa and find a few pennies from somewhere, find a few rials from somewhere, and improve this team and give it a little boost that it needs, because it needs a mid-season kick up the backside. It really does. Right, keep your comments coming, guys. Thanks for that one. 2 in 2020, how are the lads? It was an excellent comment. Old angry noob gamer. I think there's an old angry more PR on this comment as well. We're not winning the next 4 games, sorry to say. I know it's hard to see. I think Sunderland's the most winnable of all of the next few games that they have, and of course that comes with its own challenges, being a derby. Thanks everyone for watching. The numbers have stayed high throughout this. Barry Cope, thanks for your comment. We can't lose to Sunderland. If we do, he is in trouble. I think Jordan's actually mentioned on some of the videos in the past, and I think he's probably right that those derby games have brought extra pressure for managers, and if they do lose, it will be a whole different kind of pressure on Eddie Howe. But I do believe still at this present time, in this moment, he's got enough cash in the bank with regards to performances and what we've brought to this club that he probably won't be under pressure. But it's not going to be a good look, and it's not going to be an enjoyable time if Newcastle do go this run of 4 tough games and don't get a win in any of them. Barry Hogan, Liam, we are missing a defensive minded midfielder. How's attack is costing us? Yeah, I think it was suicidal today. Really, it was just so one-dimensional that they just pushed and pushed and pushed, and it had zero want to impact the way that Forest played, zero want to give either fullback any kind of cover, particularly Elanga on Dan Burn in that first half. Anthony Gordon was nowhere to be seen in front of him, gave him no defensive cover, and the three midfielders just ploughed on and pushed forward. It was genuine sort of suicide in many ways. Right, I'll go back to where I was in the comments because I'm really keen. There's so many. I'm keen for you to read them out. Barry Court, we can't lose to Sunderland. If we do, he's in trouble. Sorry, I've done that one. Old Angry New Game again. We're losing to Mackham. Sorry to tell you. Well, we'll see about that, I suppose. Who knows? Harry, thanks for your comment, mate. Terrible performance, terrible atmosphere, typical Boxing Day for us. We don't have a great result. I did see somebody earlier saying that it was a curse, but I'm not in for all that rubbish, really. I think if you play crap, you get beat. That's the end of it. Mark Slavin, I don't want it, but if we lose to Sunderland, he's in trouble. I think there's a lot of people saying that, so maybe that is the consensus. I think that we'll wait and see. Derek, Sunderland easy win. I don't know which way you're saying that. Are you saying that for Sunderland or us? The Crocodile, too true, Harry, we never win Boxing Day. Yeah, you're all right, but look, it's a gimme. A home game against Nottingham Forest, and you can't find the answers to get a result. Very poor, very poor. And like Eddie Howe, shoulders are blamed for this one today from me. Old Angry New Gamer, hammered in the next 4 games. Possibly, who knows? You can never predict in football. JC, if we could finish our dinner, would have been alright. Don't think we actually played that bad, just missing the edge. We had a similar slump last season, draws not losses like, but we bounced back. JC, no, I get your positivity, I don't mind that. I don't think they've created anywhere near enough. My opinion on the last few games is that Newcastle United have not created enough against 2 relegation strugglers, and that for me has not been good enough. Barry Hogan, is Miggy on borrowed time? Is he offering less and less? This is a huge debate. It probably needs a whole different video, but I'm really not gonna go into it too much here because I don't believe Miggy was the fault of the game today. I think that very much falls on Eddie Howe's shoulders and his lack of in-game management. But Miggy was to blame for the first goal, and his decision making, briefly to touch upon it, has been awful recently. Bar the purple patches of periods, a lesser period this season but bigger one last season, Miggy's contributions, apart from in a defensive sense, in a forward sense, have been very poor, and his decision making cost the first goal today. Edward F. I'm not sure if we need a goalkeeper, centre versus midfielder, right back, striker in January now. All 4 seems to be areas to address. Dubravka's not playing well at all for me. Jollyman 77, it's all on Eddie, poor tactics. Look, if you've been watching this whole video, that's kind of where I've been going with this one. And I've mentioned to everybody that I think a lot of the blame for today falls on the manager's shoulders. I think he did not manage this game well in game, and I think there's changes that could have been made that weren't, that caused problems. Edward F, I think Miggy needs competition. His form has dropped since Murphy's injury. The man cloud embarrassing and a disgrace. I think there's a few people in these comments would agree with you. Everybody keep joining in. Tony Selby, Trippier playing the Lightning. Chris Wood on side. He did. He played him on for. It was criminal how far he was back. Was he worried about the? I mean, is this a wider problem in the game? Was he worried about the pace in behind? Was he worried about the lack of cover that he had? He was 5 yards further back than he should be playing the defensive line. But it's probably because he did enough running backwards with the two wingers that they had. On me. Ian Nicol, unfortunately, Howe has to take the responsibility. I agree, that's what I said. Can't believe that he is still playing Trippier. If a man is off form, then drop him. FFS, I know, I can't say that, I'll get struck off. Captain Kiefer, Miley is fantastic. No, I agree. I thought Miley, when he's facing towards their goal, and was brave with the ball, because he still looks like a young player who lacks that little bravery, a little bit of bravery at sometimes, but he's losing that. And when he got the ball and drove today, he was on the main driving forces. Hard to criticise Miley for his performance today. We found out who our troll is. He's a gunner. He's a gunner, not a Mackham. Come back in the comments when you've won the league. That should be your aim this season. But we'll wait and see when Kevin De Bruyne comes back for Man City and how many points they win it by this year, much like they did last year. Crocodile. It wasn't Trips who played him inside, it was Tino. Is that correct? Maybe not. I thought it was Trippier, but I've only seen the player once. Robin Pearson, bubbles burst. I think we need a change. Do you mean in management? Interested to hear your follow-up comment on that. Mark Weir, don't think Dubravka's at fault. Liam, but he's nowhere near level needed. No, I agree. I don't think he was to blame for anything today. He actually made some decent saves, but I also agree with the fact that the massive drop-off has coincided with Nick Pope. It wasn't any goalkeeper's fault today. It was more the style and the system, but we'll wait and see whether they decide to strengthen in that area, because Nick Pope's going to be out for a long time. Sean Taylor, the player still playing for Howe? I think it's a fair question, but I don't necessarily believe he's lost the dressing room. I think they're a bit stronger than that, but it isn't great. And then Howe needs to find some answers to teams' problems today, because he has not been able to unlock the door and find the answers to both Luton and Nottingham Forest in the week, who are both struggling, and in and around the relegation zone, the Premier League does not bode well. Ian Harper, we've conceded 13 in 6 games, only conceded 12 in 13 games because of the problem of lack of confidence in the goalkeeper from the defence. Yeah, I actually think there is a bit of that, but also I think it's just a horrific. The setup today was just not right. There was zero protection from midfield, being brutally honest. Sorry for my finger jumping in there. I'm trying to keep your comments going. Crocodile was madness playing Burn against a speed demon they have. It was actually. Tino should have started instead. Yeah, it was genuinely an awful one. I can see one of the other Geordie Junos creeping in here. Here he goes. It's Jordan Cronin.
Still good. Can't shut you up.
I can't shut us up. Look, the numbers are great, man. Let's keep talking. Jordan, before I've still got loads of comments to get through. Keep your comments coming. Really appreciate it. But we'll get a few staff thoughts. You've just done Eddie Howe there, yeah?
Yeah, he praised the first half performance. And that bit of that Newcastle obviously nowhere near in the second half. Try to protect these players, praise the effort they've given him in the last few weeks, so there was no criticism of his players, but he was a bit critical of the performance as you expect in that.
Were there any questions asked of Howe? In terms of, because I've been very critical, and a lot of people in the comments here today are being critical of Eddie Howe and his in-game management and not being able to find any answers. First of all, to Chelsea, who, like I said earlier in this video, have been pitiful recently, and we created one chance and scored one goal at Stamford Bridge and surrendered a place in the Carabao Cup. Then went to Luton Town, and for all the huff and puff with the ball, did very little to look. They could have had another hour on the end of that game and not scored. And again today, they've not been able to find the answers against two teams in 3-4 days who are going to fight relegation in the Premier League this season.
Yeah, I mean, he was asked about the two subs that he tried to like the two subs he did make when the 2-1 down. It was the two subs again.
Livramento and Wilson.
Yeah, but in terms of questions asked of how tactically, I think we're in probably in a strange position in terms of a media position, I would say. I mean, I suppose you've got to be reactive, but you've also got to, from our perspective, also try and look at the wider picture rather than react like fans. We're all emotional. Look, you'll be. I am as well. Really disappointed, but I think when you work so closely with a manager and closely with the football club, you've got to, in many ways, be careful before you start getting the knives out, if that makes sense.
So I think Jordan's making a really interesting point here, and it might be something outside of this kind of journalistic bubble that may not be understood, but it's very easy as a fan to sharpen the knives early, but I think the wider context does matter, and it's important to ask the right questions at the right time, and it still doesn't quite feel knives out time in terms of Eddie Howe. He's got a really tough. I mean, that might change if the next 4 games go the way that form would suggest they'll go. That will probably tip over. But 6 defeats in 7 is a very bad look for Eddie Howe.
No, it's in many ways you can look at this perhaps a defining period. The next 2 games that they've got, Liverpool, Sunderland. They're two massive games.
And the Man City here is going to be huge.
Well, I mean, January is massive. They've got some really big games in January, Aston Villa included. So in 4 weeks' time, we could be doing this live again at some point and having a very different outlook. But as you mentioned there, I think I'm not defending Eddie Howe. I thought the day that was pitiful. It was woeful. I thought
you were going to say something else.
No, but it was bad today. There's no getting around that. But I think there's got to be some perspective. Like a lot of the players, the manager has got credit in the bank for now, but that can quickly change. No doubt about that. It's a defining period. I said this after the Chelsea game. That Sunderland game for me is potentially a game changer and a turn of the defence of Eddie Howe. I think probably today is probably the first time I've really seen supporters on social media question Eddie Howe's in-game management.
It was awful. I've went
Before you've been
on this video, I've gone for that. I think it was really dreadful. I think
it was.
To turn up with Dan Burn against Alanga was pitiful, really.
Yeah.
And then to not see that after, even when Newcastle were 1-0 up, to not see that the problems were arising down that wing. And that's not on Dan Burn. It's largely set because the midfield was all over the shop as well. This attack approach has been mentioned in more comments.
No, I agree with the feedback online. I just think from our perspective, as a media, we've got to be careful before we start, in many ways, as I use the term, getting the knives out. I've seen a comment there, credit in the bank and go very quickly. It's absolutely spot on. And
just the way I've been spending over Christmas, I can assure you.
and to be fair, that credit in the bank could easily go within the next few weeks. As I say, I said it after the Chelsea game. That Southern game for me is season defining and potentially defining for Eddie Howe in many ways. They can't go and lose that game. They're going to go into that game unless they get a miraculous result at Liverpool. They don't get results at Anfield. They're going to go into that Sunderland game on the back of 3 defeats. And what would that be? Would that be 8? Trying to be maths here. They've done
just a load.
7 defeats and 8 at the moment. So that could easily be
6 and 7.
6 and 7.
Yeah. 6 and 7 would be 7 and 8 if they lose.
Yes.
Well, jump back in the comments, Jordan, because I wanted. There was somebody in the comments called Hugh Jordan.
I'm glad you said that.
I thought he was a Mackham, but he was an Arsenal fan.
Right.
I said, just worry about your title chase, man. Stop jumping in the Newcastle comments, you sado. Right. Let's go. Look, honestly, this
Lots of comments.
This is incredible. The amount of comments. Thanks for all your feedback, guys. Let's have a look. Do you want to read a few out, Jordan?
Yeah, awful result and performance. Is that how under pressure? As I said, probably not yet, but in the next couple of weeks, Sunderland result, Aston Villa, etc. Yes, possibly.
Thanks for that comment, Munch. SKS010. We should have sold high on Almiron. No way he was going to repeat the anomaly of last season. Should have sold high. Biggest mistake. Yes, I think in an ideal world you would have tried to get money for Almiron because, bar the purple patches, which was much smaller this season than it was last season, his decision making has been awful. Yeah. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to blame him for this result because he was to fault for one of the goals. Yeah. But a lot of what went on in the second half was without Almiron on the pitch. Next comment, Derek Sharp. How needs to be questioned now? Derek, again, thanks for your comment. Easy win for the Toon versus the Macklins. Aye, right. Awesome. Barry Hogan, how has got us to this point? Give him a chance. Who will we get in? Improve on Howe's team. You will turn it around. We need a couple of January incomings. Who would you sign? Liam. I'm not playing Football Manager with this. I think they need a goalkeeper and I think they need a right winger and a midfielder. Whether the money's there to do it, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, based on today, a lot of Wolves' attacks came right down the middle of the pitch.
Yeah.
On Newcastle in that area, lacking an out-and-out number 6.
It's a 4 in old money, but a 6 is what they call it these days.
Yeah, are they lacking someone that sits in front of the back 4 and breaks all that up? Yeah, I think the offer, as good as Bruno isn't for great years, there's options there to potentially play him further forward if you do bring in a number 6. But I think if you're looking at that game today, they absolutely need to strengthen that area because they were torn apart. It wasn't in the wide areas. I mean, it was all over. But there was a lot of basic attacks came from the middle of the pitch, and I haven't seen that happen here for a while.
Keep your comments coming, guys and girls. We're really enjoying it. Munch, we really lack pace at the back. I'm shocked it's taken teams so long to realise this. I've been saying since the start of last season. I remember mentioning that before with that amazing season that wow, that back 4 is so devoid of pace. It really is, and it needs changed. Right, Pedro Stoko, how come Carriers can't get a game? What's the point of having him if he can't even get a game? I'm in massive agreement with this. I've said that all along. Derek, fully back how we'll get it back on track. Derek Sharp, Trips needs a break. I think he has for weeks.
Yeah.
And Toon Army, we can't keep playing Trips when he clearly needs time away. Agree. I think we're both standing here in agreement with you there. Tony Selby, just when I believe we are a good side, Dr. Newcastle returns. I think there's a lot of people are saying that. The Arsenal goalkeeper needed, plus a right wing and a new left back, Graham Towler. Derek Sharp, did we go for De Gea? Probably not. I would suggest due to his wages. The Crocodile, welcome Jordan. He's back. He's back from the press conference to give some insight. SKS 10, anyone better than Dubravka. I just don't see how Karius can get it going, but I don't blame Dubravka for what happened today. Joey Toon for Life, here's the naughty lad on. Yes, you, Jordan. Sean Taylor, Howe said we don't need a 6. He is simply wrong. I agree. SKS, did he really? Did he really? Explain, elaborate on that.
I'm trying to go through these quotes, having not sort of processed and read them back, but he was asked about, are you lacking a number 6? And in short, he said, no, I don't think so. So that's all I can offer in terms of exactly what he said, but he was asked specifically about number 6, and he said, I don't think so.
SKS, so 10, thanks for all your comments. Try Carrius, I think a lot of people agree. Derek, my hangover is 10 times worse after watching that game. No light relief for you there. Get back on the beers, mate. Wayne Patton, praise first half. He lost the plot. Bloody hell. Miggy, Byrne and Longstaff were terrible. Never should be played again. Well, that's a bit strong, but they were poor today. I'll agree with that. And Tsunami, I don't agree with Eddie playing favourite players, instead in playing form and fresh players. Crazy, reminds me of Southgate in England. Wayne Patton, we've only got Villa, City, Liverpool and a small game against Sunderland. 4 wins, why not? I love your positivity, Wayne. Love it. Although I do sense it's a bit tongue-in-cheek. John Spence, praise the players' efforts. I've sweated more on the settee than watching them. The Crocodile, love Eddie, but he's talking about being proactive instead of reactive. But was plain to see the gameplay and he did nothing. I think that's one thing we went about earlier.
Can't argue that today.
Yeah, I think one thing that really frustrated me is everybody who's watched this full video was that Eddie lost it today for me with his poor in-game management and preparation in not seeing the obvious threat that Nottingham Forest pose on the break. SKS again, thank you. Any future window we need to strengthen the first team, not the backups. They never strengthened the first team really at all in the last window, and that's what's really every game coming home to roost. Derek Sharp, if Howe is responding this way, he ain't the right man. We need a number 6 goalkeeper and a winger. I definitely agree with the second half of that. Sean Taylor, credit in the bank, it goes very quickly as we touched upon earlier. Forest scored 3 away at Liverpool. Geordie Tune for Life, thanks for commenting out. Yep, they've certainly shown they can do it, and they've done it again today here with ease. Derek Sharp, the players have lost the fight, no passion. Ian Harper, Eddie's big game is Sunderland. I think most fans can understand a loss at Liverpool or Man City, but not Sunderland.
Yeah.
Very much, you've touched upon that in the past. Thank you everybody for coming on the comments. Thank you everyone for watching. Well, I think we've got high levels, nearly 150 on here watching live, which is quite incredible. Asset Vigilante, hence why I've gone on 41 minutes. How the hell have I done 41 minutes after this?
Incredible.
Anyway, last season we again went on a trot of bad results, and how again in-game management is shocking. I agree. Sean Taylor needs a Europa League position in FA Cup run to survive. Certainly would to take the pressure off. They just need to make sure they get back in Europe next season, in my opinion, to keep this rolling. Barry Hogan, would you guys take a chance on De Gea? Yes, I would. Jordan, would you take a chance on De Gea?
Yes, I would. Yeah, right. He's a top class goalkeeper.
Ian Harper, I think we need to step back and give a nod to the fact we purchased 2 players in summer costing 90 million and they have not really played. What I would say though is that is not faultless in terms of the decisions that they made. It was a poor window. You can't judge it any other way. Michael Clueless, how? Eric, thanks for your comment. Eric Grimslid, is that another silly? No, I think it's actually a genuine one. Thoughts on behind Solanke and moving Isak out wide? Not for me. Then play Solanke and Wilson at 9 and Phillips on loan at 6. I'm not going to jump in on that, but I would probably take Solanke, but I'm not necessarily going to say I'd play Isak out wide. I think Isak's better through the middle. Mark Slaven, Forest, not Wolves, George.
That, yeah, it's because of Nuno.
Is that you dropping planners again?
I must have been that. Sorry, as you know, I was talking about.
Jessica Noble, Eddie Howe out. I'm not sure yet. Paul Charlton, good. Where do you go from here? I don't know. Liverpool. And it's not going to be easy, Paul. Thanks for the comment as well in the Metro Centre. It was good to see somebody recognising a Geordie journo out on his Christmas shopping. Jessica Noble, Eddie Howe should be sacked. You're very firm on that one, Jessica. I appreciate your comment. Ian Harper, Barry, do you think De Gea would be better? We've commented on that one. Right. I think Jordan, we're gonna have to call this.
Yeah, no, yeah, I've got work to do.
We've actually got work to do. 45 minutes, 142 live. I'm really sorry, but we're gonna have to jump off as the lawnmowers wheel away, cutting away the dead grass off the top. And I think there's a lot of people in these comments want to cut some dead wood out Newcastle's squad, and even some of them wanting the chop of the manager, which is fair to say. Everyone gets emotional at these times. It's been a right struggle for the last few weeks. The Geordie Journals are always there by your side, and we will continue. Good, bad, indifferent. We'll do our lives. We'll keep it coming. All the shorts, all the main videos, which we'll do a bit of analysis. I'm not sure if Jordan will be on. He's got a family party to get to tonight, but you'll definitely get some more from me and Dom either tonight or tomorrow. Right, cheers guys, like, comment, share, subscribe, you know where to find the Geordie Journos, and I'm really appreciative of all the people who've jumped in on this live. It's been a pleasure to do, even if it was not a pleasure to watch what happened on this square of green behind me today. Cheers guys, thanks for everything. Like, comment, share, subscribe.